Artemis, one of the most revered goddesses in Greek mythology, has origins dating back to the earliest Greek religious beliefs. In her earliest forms, she was a deity linked to nature and fertility, reflecting the agrarian and hunting societies of ancient Greece. Artemis is believed to have originated as a pre-Greek or Minoan goddess associated with wildlife and fertility. In her earliest depictions, she was often portrayed as a young woman or maiden, emphasizing her virginity and purity. She was seen as a protector of young girls and women, especially during childbirth, and was known as Artemis of the Wilds. As Greek society evolved, so did Artemis' character. She gradually became more associated with the hunt and wilderness, reflecting the changing lifestyles and values of the ancient Greeks. In this evolved role, she was seen as a skilled archer and a fierce, independent huntress. One of the defining features of Artemis is her twin brother, Apollo. Together, they represented a harmonious duality, Artemis as the moon goddess and Apollo as the sun god. This dual symbolism was significant in ancient Greek cosmology. Artemis was also known for her vow of eternal virginity. She rejected the advances of gods and mortals alike, remaining chaste throughout her existence. This purity was a source of great power and respect in Greek mythology. Artemis was a protector not only of women but also of wild animals and the natural world. She was often depicted with a bow and arrow, ready to defend her domains. This role as a protector of the environment emphasized her connection to the untamed wilderness. Artemis had numerous cults and temples dedicated to her across Greece. One of the most famous was the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Her worship often included rituals and festivals, with young girls taking part in her rites. Artemis played a prominent role in various Greek myths. She was involved in stories like the slaying of the Caledonian boar, her encounter with Actaeon, and her role in the Trojan War. These myths added depth to her character and showcased her abilities and personality. As time passed, Artemis continued to be a multifaceted and dynamic figure in Greek mythology. Her evolution mirrored the changing beliefs and priorities of ancient Greek society, making her a complex and enduring goddess with a rich history. Artemis is often depicted with her silver bow and arrows, symbolizing her unparalleled skill in archery and her ability to strike her targets with precision. Her hunting attire typically consists of a short hunting tunic or chiton, suitable for swift movement through the wilderness. She often appears with a quiver of arrows slung across her shoulder. The crescent moon is closely associated with Artemis and symbolizes her connection to the lunar cycle. She was sometimes referred to as Artemis Selene, linking her to the moon goddess Selene. Additionally, she may wear a crown or wreath made of laurel leaves, which were sacred to her and symbolized victory and achievement. In some representations, Artemis carries a torch, signifying her role as a bringer of light to the darkness of the wilderness. This symbolizes her protective aspect as she guided travelers and hunters. Artemis' primary role was as the goddess of the hunt. She was revered for her hunting prowess, often leading groups of nymphs and other hunting companions in pursuit of game. Her arrows were said to bring sudden death to wild animals. As the goddess of the wilderness, Artemis was not only a skilled huntress but also a guardian of nature. She fiercely protected the sanctity of forests, mountains, and rivers, ensuring their preservation and the well-being of the creatures within. Artemis maintained her virginity and independence, rejecting marriage and romantic advances. Her eternal chastity was seen as a symbol of purity and self-reliance. Despite her wilderness persona, Artemis had a caring side. She was considered a protector of women and girls, especially during childbirth, and was invoked for their safety. Artemis had a lunar aspect, with the moon's phases reflecting her changing moods. The waxing and waning of the moon were often associated with her control, symbolizing her dual nature as both a nurturing and a fierce deity. Artemis' twin brother, Apollo, played a significant role in shaping her mythology and significance in Greek mythology. Their unique bond and shared attributes added depth to their characters, and while they had their differences, they also had moments of cooperation. One notable conflict involving both siblings was their joint punishment of Niobe. Niobe, a mortal queen, boasted about her superiority as a mother over the divine Leto, Apollo and Artemis' mother. In response, the twins, at Apollo's instigation, killed Niobe's children, and Artemis killed her daughters, while Apollo killed her sons. Artemis and Apollo were involved in the story of Actaeon, a mortal hunter who accidentally stumbled upon Artemis bathing. As punishment, Artemis turned him into a stag, and he was later killed by his own hunting dogs. Although Artemis was the primary instigator in this case, Apollo's influence on her role as a protector of her privacy and chastity may have played a part. While conflicts between them occurred, Apollo and Artemis also cooperated on occasion. For instance, they worked together during the Trojan War. Apollo supported the Trojans, while Artemis aided the Greeks. This cooperation highlighted their complex relationship. Artemis' role as a protector of women and her association with childbirth were essential aspects of her mythology in ancient Greece. Artemis was known as a chaste goddess, and her virginity was highly valued. She represented a model of purity and self-reliance for women. As a virgin goddess, she was seen as a protector of the chastity and virtue of young girls. Artemis was invoked by women during labor, as they sought her protection and guidance through the challenges of childbirth. Her maternal aspect came to the forefront in these moments, where she was seen as a compassionate guardian. In some regions, Artemis was regarded as a divine midwife who assisted in safe childbirth. Women would offer prayers and sacrifices to her, seeking her aid in delivering their babies safely. Artemis played a role in the transition from girlhood to womanhood. In the city of Brauerin, young girls, often between the ages of 5 and 10, were dedicated to the service of Artemis in the Temple of Artemis Brauronia. They would participate in rituals and processions, symbolizing their transition to adulthood under her protection. Women would often wear charms or amulets featuring images of Artemis during pregnancy and childbirth. These were believed to offer protection to both the mother and the newborn. After childbirth, women often underwent purification rituals to cleanse themselves spiritually and physically. These rituals were sometimes performed at temples dedicated to Artemis, emphasizing her role in postpartum care. Artemis' dual nature as a protector of women and a fierce huntress highlights the complexity of her character. In the realm of childbirth, she offered solace and protection to women in their most vulnerable moments, underscoring her significance in the lives of ancient Greek women. Artemis worship in ancient Greece was widespread and took various forms, including the construction of temples, the establishment of cults, and the observance of rituals. Her presence was deeply ingrained in the fabric of Greek society. Here are ways in which Artemis worship manifested in ancient Greece, along with some notable temples and rituals associated with her. Located in present-day Turkey, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus was one of the most famous temples dedicated to the goddess. It was considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. This grand temple was a center of Artemis worship and drew pilgrims from far and wide. The Temple of Artemis Persona, situated in the city of Brouwer in Attica, Greece, was significant for its rituals involving young girls dedicated to the service of Artemis. These girls, known as Arcta, would participate in various rites of passage. The Artemis Scion on the island of Corfu was another prominent temple dedicated to Artemis. It featured a massive statue of the goddess that was believed to be the work of the renowned sculptor Praxiteles. Delos, an island in the Aegean Sea, was considered the birthplace of Artemis and her twin brother Apollo. The island had a temple dedicated to both deities, highlighting their connection to each other and their significance in the Greek pantheon. The cult of Artemis Orthia in Sparta involved rituals where young girls would compete in reaching suspended objects. It was believed that Artemis watched over these rites, and they were part of a transition from girlhood to womanhood. The city of Brouwer hosted an annual festival in honor of Artemis. During this festival, young girls, dressed as bears, would perform dances and rituals. It was an essential event in the cult of Artemis in that region. In the city of Athens, the festival of Artemis Epiphybolia was celebrated. It included offerings of stag-shaped cakes and a race of young girls. Women would often make offerings and perform rituals at local shrines or temples dedicated to Artemis when seeking protection during childbirth or for the well-being of their children. Artemis worship was not confined to one specific region or city. Rather, it was widespread throughout ancient Greece, and her influence extended to various aspects of life, including hunting, wilderness, women's roles, and transitions from girlhood to womanhood. The temples and rituals dedicated to her showcase the depth of her significance in Greek society. Thank you for watching. Please comment below what you would like to see next.